What's up, everybody? This is Shadia and I am back with another video. And today this video that I'm going to talk about is going to be why I went to college. So let's get right into it. So I started school, I want to say, back in 2009. And yes, it literally probably took a whole 9 to 10 years for me to graduate. It took a while, but the thing about time is learning how to stay in your own lane, because when you do what you're supposed to do and you know you're on the right path to doing what needs to be done, you won't worry about it. I'm not trying to basically please anyone else by swerving into your lane thinking it's gonna take me 4 years when I know doggone well it's probably gonna take me longer than that due to my situation. But on another note, so one of the reasons I can say I decided to go to college was because I was bored. So after I graduated from Ben Davis, I literally didn't know what I was going to do with my life, especially after being paralyzed. I graduated. So I got paralyzed at 16. I graduated from high school one time 2 years later when I was 18. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point because everything had changed. Kind of, I guess I could say back then, for the worse. Everything had took a turn for the worse. I was paralyzed. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to actually identify with my peers anymore. I didn't know how to identify with myself. I didn't even know who I was because I was completely different. You know, my path was different at this point. I was now trying to lead a life of living in a wheelchair, with before I was walking and I was a healthy individual. So in turn of doing that, it was very difficult trying to learn how to cope with that new lifestyle because, again, I was 16 turning 18 and things had changed. So after I graduated, I literally thought to myself, I'm like, what am I gonna do now? Like, I graduated, am I gonna sit at home and do nothing with my father and with the nurse? I'm thinking, I don't know. I couldn't really figure out what it was I wanted to do, and I didn't really have any plans at this point because things had changed. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And so after graduating and going home and finally being able to sit and be with my thoughts and actually think about what it is I was going to do, I needed a blood transfusion. I want to say maybe, oh wait, I take that back. So after graduating, I want to say I sat at home for probably about 2 years. 2 years doing absolutely nothing. Just sitting at home watching TV. And I think I had a nurse. And the nurse asked me, she was like, why don't you go to school? And I'm like, go to school? And she's like, yeah. And I'm thinking, that may be a good idea. It's not like I'm sitting around doing anything here. Why don't I? And so that day I took my ACTs and I did pretty well enough to be accepted into IUPUI, and that is the college I chose. And I chose that college because it was very close to my house, and I figured I wouldn't have to do a lot of traveling and I wouldn't have to, you know, worry about being too far from home, because remind you, the situation was still fairly new. So I wanted to be close to home and I wanted to be somewhere where I would be comfortable. So that's why I decided to go to IUPUI. In the meantime, going to IUPUI, I probably went there for about, I want to say 2 years. Like I said, in 2009, I was probably there for about 2 years, or maybe 3. 2 or 3 years, and finally I was introduced to my scholarship, which is this called the Nina Mason Pulliam Scholarship. I was introduced to that. Actually, so that scholarship gives you 6 years free, which was wonderful because that means you graduate debt free when you go to college. So I was introduced to that. After that, I was like, this could really become, after going to school for a while, I was like, I really kind of enjoy this. Not that I made any friends or anything, but I really enjoyed the experience of getting out because I had sat at home for so long, practically really never leaving my house. And if you want to know how I overcame that fear, you can check out my video. It's called 5 Ways I Overcame My Fear of Leaving the House. But yeah, I practically sat there for 2 years, never really leaving my house, sitting here doing much of nothing but being comfortable in, you know, the confinement of my own home. And then I realized, like I said, after my nurse brought it up to me, she's like, why don't you go to school? I was thinking, that's really a good idea because it's not as if I'm doing anything here. I already took my ACTs. I might as well go to school. So that's what I did. Like I said, I was introduced to the Nina Scholars, which means I graduated debt free, thank God. And so after doing that and being in school and having the scholarship, going to school then became a goal for me that I wanted to accomplish. At first, like I said, it was boredom. I just did it because I was bored and had nothing to do. Then after I actually got into the groove of things, I was like, you know what? This could really be something that I enjoy. This could be something that could really benefit me in years to come. And this could really be something that will help me have a job. Because honestly, I had never thought about work, buying a house, anything that would make me independent. I had never thought about it. Anything that would allow me to be independent, I had never thought about it, because I was so caught up in the moment of just being in the situation, being paralyzed, losing friends, not knowing who I was. So being caught up with all the things that a teenager who's now trying to grow and adapt to adulthood in a completely different way, such as eating a nurse, and I was having to have somebody around and never really having any privacy. And I mean, it's just so many things that come with this lifestyle that you have to deal with, and you have to try to transition into the best way possible. It was just difficult because, like I said, coming from a 16-year-old, then becoming 17, 18, 19, 20, going into those years and still being in the situation and still trying to just adapt to this new life. It was difficult. You don't think about, well, what am I going to do when I get a job, or what I'm going to do when I'm going to live on my own. I didn't think about any of those things because, for one, I never thought my situation would last as long as it lasted, which is 14 years. I never thought that it would be this long ever. Like, I just thought, okay, this is something I'm going to go through. It'll be over in two to 3 years or something like that. But no, here we are 14 years later and the situation is lasting. And so, like I said, you just don't think about, you don't think futuristically, you think more momentarily in that moment. And that's what I did. So like I said, after I got my scholarship, it then became a goal, something I wanted to accomplish. I was like, this is nice. Like, the experience is nice, seeing different people, actually having something to do every single day and not sitting in the house doing absolutely nothing, getting out, meeting different people, meeting different cultures, experiencing different people, and, you know, actually experiencing the college life. I'm like, this is what people should be doing at my age. So after I realized that, I was like, okay, so my goal is to actually go to college and, you know, do something with myself. And after I realized that I wanted it to be a goal, it became an accomplishment. I ended up accomplishing college. I ended up graduating. I was able to get my degree and graduated. Granted, it took me a while, but like I said prior, I remained in my lane. And bottom line is, I'm not rushing. I'm not in competition with that person over there, this person, or with what statistically it says people graduate in 4 years, because statistically my life is completely different. So I couldn't be in competition with those statistics. I had to be in competition with myself. I had to do what was best for me, and I had to take my time with the situation. I didn't want to rush. I couldn't rush because, of course, in the middle of being in college, personal things go on, just a lot goes on. So sometimes you don't always graduate on time. But for me, I graduated the time I was supposed to. So again, those are my reasons for practically going to school. Out of boredom. Then after I got there, I realized this is something I really want to do, so it became a goal. And then after I realized it was a goal, it became my accomplishment. I accomplished it. I achieved it. I graduated. I'm proud of myself for doing that, because it took a lot. It took a lot, but I was willing to go through that. I was willing to challenge myself and do it. And like I said, it took a while, but I was able to do it. So I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy. I hope some of you get some inspiration. My goal is to always just inspire people. And I'll check you out at my next one. Peace.